What happened to us?
We got lost.
Have you tried being the third party?
I'm sorry for what happened earlier.
If yes, was it worth taking the risk? Or is it part of what you call regret?
Today, we will review the movie Ang Kwento Nating Dalawa. And ang tayo sa Huling Buwan ng Taon. A story of moving on and second chances. It's a new day, it's a new life to be hopeful for. If this is your first time in my channel, I am Gara, ang imo bisayang amigo. This was suggested by my co-teacher Sir Paul Salazar to make a movie review of it. But I am more of reflecting to the story since I can mostly relate to it. To make this video more interesting, I will show you for the first time in my channel the gorgeous paradise of my hometown, Palaypay. The Palaypay Falls here in Negros Oriental, Philippines. When the story started, it was about how can two people can make simple moments turn into something meaningful. This picture gives us the idea of how great love is. That great love doesn't need to have great moments. These are simple moments, but meaningful ones. Meaningful that even when Sam was late, great love is willing to give an allowance to fail because it will always forgive and choose the person. Isa quickly forgave Sam. Their moments are so simple, yet you know that they're happy with each other. Again, great love can make even simple moments meaningful. As you go along with the story, you'll realize that though their love was great, their relationship was wrong. Isa has a long-distance boyfriend named Frank. This was when Sam was in the verge between choosing his happiness or choosing what's right. His best friend was his alter ego about Sam's relationship with Isa. It is indeed very good to be surrounded with people you call friends. Friends who will never tolerate your wrongdoings. You'll find in your circle who is painfully blunt and tactless. But this friend you call is someone you can count on. A friend who will wake you up and show you that no matter how painful the reality is, you have to deal with it. If you have this kind of friend, keep them.
Is that all this is? It's cool if you think that I'm wasting my time. But you've gotta stop pulling me back. What's up with that? I don't wanna love you. Try to convince, use every trick that's up my sleeve. I don't wanna beg you. Show you my soul, if you're gonna hold it all against me. When you push me enough to pay.
Because of our deep admiration to someone, we sometimes forget what's right and what's supposed to be. We sometimes forget that we're hurting someone in the process of satisfying ourselves. In the eyes of many, it's wrong. But in the eyes who feel it, it's worth taking the risks. But nothing is for free. We all pay the price. With this, the price of Sam and Isa having an affair with each other is that they have to hide it. I was once in the shoe of Sam long time ago. I was the third party, and I knew it. But since I love the person so much, I chose the situation. I thought it's worth taking the risks. But just like what Sam felt, I felt insecure as time goes by. I felt the guilt that's creeping me inside. Because even if I want to own all the time of my boyfriend, I knew I was just a side trip. Second option, not a priority, and needed only when the other one wasn't around. It's true, he was my happiness, my everything, my great love. But on the other side of the picture, I was just the supplementary. Yes, you will be happy, but limited. You will be chosen, but you are not all he needs. Eventually, you will drift apart because what's not right will always be out of sight.
Dayon ka ba? Sanjay ka yan!
My ex was also in the shoe of Isa. When Sam was trying to wake up with the reality, he likes to discuss it with her. And just like Isa, my boyfriend would just tell me, just give me time. And we're okay. Why do we have to discuss that? I knew we were both lying because even if our happiness was overflowing, knowing the fact that we're together, we knew we always limited. I knew I loved the person, but unconsciously, I became conscious with my insecurities. Philosophers believe that conscience is the voice of God, so every time I feel insecure, I feel I needed to do what's right. So right after a month, he decided a decision I had to accept. Not only because it was right, but also because I love the person. He chose his first boyfriend. The sequel was definitely more on moving on and allowing ourselves to choose rightness. And being happy and contented with what one have. Isa stays with Frank, and Sam finally has Anna in his life. Both of them are happy with their own partners, but the world complicates things as it brings conflict to their lives. Isa and Sam, with their own peaceful lives, came to encounter with each other in the most unexpected time and place. As I watched this part, I remembered how my ex and I encountered on the same place unexpectedly. Just like Sam and Isa, we approached each other nicely. I knew I've moved on, but deep inside, I remembered crystal clear how he made me happy differently before. As the story goes on with Isa and Sam, they enjoyed each other's company as friends. But sometimes, due to our weaknesses, we fall into really finding answers with our unsettled questions.
I mean, seriously, what happened to us?
We got lost.
Seriously? We got lost? Yun ang sasabihin mo sa akin?
Di ba ikaw din nagsabi? It just didn't work out.
Minessage kita! Hindi ka nag-reply. Galit ka sa akin?
Oo! Can we just leave it there? We both have our own lives now, okay?
If I were in the shoes of Sam, I know I could almost do the same. But I realize as I matured, not all questions has to be answered, and not all answers has to have questions. Because if you want to put everything under the control of your hands, the tendency is you are putting yourself in control by your emotions and the situation, complicating things and eventually regretting it. Moving on should not depend on what you feel, what you see, and how the included parties are affected. Moving on is but only a choice. Whether your questions is 1 or 100, moving on is acceptance. Moving on is sad, but it's what's right. Moving on is allowing things to unfold by closing temporarily your past that is not needed in the present. So when moving on is fully realized, you can glance in the past and all you'll see are lessons brought to present for a stable future. Second chances, on the other hand, isn't wrong. Second chances could not only be to be with the same person, but second chances could also be a second chance to be in love again at the right time with the right reasons. We cannot always put everything in our hands and make sure it will happen according to our will. Sometimes we have to let things flow by itself because there's no substitute for rightness and peace. As we grow, and as what I've learned in this movie just tells us one very important thing: that great love is not always right love, but right love is always a great love.